Okay, greetings all. This is the first video in a series of lessons on one-way analysis of variance, but these ideas are going to carry us over for multiple weeks. So the biggest idea is that we're going to extend linear models, and they're going to be creative ways to employ multiple regression. But first of all, we need to start back and start with something a little bit simpler before we can get there. And the idea is we'd like to incorporate categorical data into our linear models. Remember, there's two kinds of data. There's like numerical data, like 52, where the time or the temperature is anywhere between 32 degrees and 85 degrees. Then we have categorical data, where you put data into specific categories. We've done this before. We've had a variable that said, okay, if it's 1 if it's a truck and 0 if it's a passenger car, or 1 if it's a male and 0 if it's a female. But the question is, what if there are more than two choices? Think about that, how you might put a categorical data. Well, we can't really put 0, 1, and 2 because we wouldn't say, like if you had Wingett's, Morris, and Swallow Robin. We can't say that Swallow Robin is twice as much as Morris. I don't think, as a Christian at least, you could. You might on the side. But still, there's this idea that what happens if we have more than two choices? So let's kind of talk about how that might be. So the uses of this idea of indicator variables is really a simple idea, but it can trick people, particularly when we get to regression equations. So just as an overall thinking strategy beyond this course and in your foundational core is to understand simple things deeply. Understand simple things deeply. So understanding simple things deeply just means mastering the fundamental principles, ideas, and methods that you can create a solid foundation which you can build. So indicator variables are not that complicated. However, we're going to start building upon those. And if you try to go straight there without an understanding of indicator variables, you're going to get messed up. So if you have a nice foundational understanding of indicator variables, that's going to help you a lot. So here we have two choices. We let the vehicle, if it's a truck, we'll let it be a 1. If the vehicle is a passenger car, it'll be a 0. So what if there's two choices? So here's the idea. Suppose we have 4 dorms. Let's call them Olson, English, Garrewag, and Bergwall, and we want to estimate blank for each hall. And I had several options here, and I just thought I'm going to get in deep trouble if this is videotaped as far as how we're going to use linear regression at Taylor for this. So I am not going to go on record. You can put your own answer there in the blank as far as what you want to estimate to see if there's a difference among those 4 halls in the area of blank. Anyway, back to our idea. Basically, we can use simple coding to represent these dorms. For Olson, I'm going to give Olson sort of the reference variable as 0, 0, 0, English as 1, 0, 0, Gehrig as 0, 1, 0, and Bergwall as 0, 0, 1. Okay, notice that I only have at most 1 in each column and at most 1 in each row. So that will play a role. So also notice that we had 4 categories, but we only needed 3 variables. So if I had x1 is 0, x2 is 1, and x3 is 0, which dorm? So I might pause it and answer the question. Well, obviously that's Gehrig. And if you had x1 is 0, 0, and 1, that's Bergwall. And if you have 0, 0, 0, then you have Olson. So maybe you want to pause it for this next question. It would not make sense if you had 1, 1, 0, because I don't think you can live in 2 dorms, at least officially. I know people have tried. But just officially, we wouldn't be able to do that and say, well, that means you're living in English and Gehrig. And categorical data means that you are in a specific category. So that's kind of the idea. Now you try. Let's have you set up indicator variables for the following categories. Indiana, Illinois, Michigan, Kentucky, and Ohio. Let's let Indiana be the reference variable. So the question is, how many indicator variables will you need? So pause it and answer that question. Do you need 5, 6, 3, 4? So it turns out that we need 4 indicator variables. With Indiana as a reference variable, you should get something along this line. 0, 0, 0, and 1, 0, 0, 0, and so forth. And so this is a nice way of representing categorical data. Again, we can't put like one variable being like 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, Because we're going to have a coefficient in front of that, then you're saying like, okay, Michigan is twice as much as Illinois, or Kentucky is 3 times as much. It just won't make sense. So this use of the indicator variables will allow us to measure the differences between these categories in using multiple linear regression. Okay, so next up will be how to set this up in Minitab. I think doing this by hand will be very good before we get to Minitab, but we'll do that next video.